Hello! Today is, I don't know what today is, but TV Recap is the show. I got a crappy video camera today, so, exciting. I'm going to talk about dark matter. That's such a bad reflection. Can we find a spot where it's not reflecting? Dark Matter just finished up season 2. It's a pretty good show. I really like it. It's from the creators of Stargate, apparently. I did not know that, but initially, it definitely had the vibe, and of course it had some of the actors from Stargate, but it also had a lot of actors from, or at least one, two now, actors from The Lost Girl. So that's an odd switch for them. They go from that to this. It's fantasy or sci-fi, so that's kind of the same genre, but that show was definitely weird. But anyway, creators of Stargate decided to make this show. It's a pretty good show. I like it. This season was a lot of interesting stuff. So I brought up Stargate, and I want to talk about that specifically because to me this show kind of comes across as, I have to sit up too high. Here we go. This show comes across as Star Trek, and while it seems odd, you'd say that this show is a lot like Stargate because it's the creators of Stargate. But for some reason, there's a vibe to this show that is very much Star Trek. Probably the moral dilemmas, the fact that they're in a spaceship traveling around the galaxy, and the big thing that kind of stands out is the android lady from Lost Girl. The sidekick or whatever she was. No, she wasn't the sidekick. She was just anyway, another TV show. And so, Stargate was definitely got stuck in a rut after the first arc, Anubis. They took down Anubis, and it wasn't great for that season. It was good. It was good. It was a good show. But it wasn't a great show. But they're stuck in a model, is my guess, and they just kept perpetuating that model instead of breaking out of that model, and that model being the Stargate and the worlds, and they're controlled by Anubis and whatnot. So how do you break out of that mold? And so Stargate is all about go there, shoot stuff, and then come back. Where Dark Matter is a lot about resolving a moral, or discussing a moral dilemma. Sometimes it doesn't get resolved, and that's what Star Trek's about. Star Trek's about digging deep into this moral dilemma. They don't dig deep into it in Dark Matter, and that's probably their saving grace, I guess. I don't know. A lot of people get bored with discussion, and they do a pretty good balance in this show. A very good balance of action, bringing up the moral dilemma and showcasing it, and kind of showing the emotions involved and trying to deal with those issues. Sort of like in this season, the android was causing issues on the ship, which turned out not to be her. It turned out to be a virus. But the crew wanted to eliminate her because she's just a machine, and we could get another one. It's not a big deal. But she has emotions. She thinks for herself. She exists, and they show that struggle with that thought on that episode. Another thing I want to bring up is that they kind of almost went, well, it now can act like a human and be human. Well, that totally kills the character. I hated it when they did it in Star Trek, the movie series, the Next Generation movies, where they were trying to make Data more human, and it's like, no, that's the point of the character, is to be different, to be weird, to be seeing these things through this perspective, and they kept her that way. So that was cool. That was cool that they kept her that way. They might bring it back because it's definitely available, but you know, they did keep it for this season. They did keep her normal, or android-like, I guess, not normal. The character they initially created, they kept her that way instead of killing her off and making her human, which would totally, you know, destroy that character. This is going to be a big video. Here we go. Maybe I should sit back like this. So that happened. Another dilemma, you know, the whole blink drive issue, you know, superpower technology. You know, being able to blink in and out of a space with the snap of your finger, that is, you know, as they discussed, pretty strong technology. And then, you know, they discuss, you know, handing it over to somebody or letting the bad guys keep it. And they came to the realization that they should probably keep a hold of it. But then the Yoshida, I think is his name, decides to regain his memory and become the asshole he was. and takes the drive back for his own purposes so he can wage war and enslave people, as Two suggested. That was another thing. So that all happened. That's interesting to see what will come of that situation. They'll probably try and figure out a covert act of trying to steal it back, but we'll see, I guess. Jace Corso. They killed that guy off. So I follow him on Facebook, and they were showing, you know, hey, look at the new characters, look at the new costumes that they're wearing. This is their new style that they'll be wearing for the show. And I'm like, oh, okay, not a big deal. It looks like everybody's still there. No, they killed Jace off. It's like the guy that that keeps them in check, the guy that, you know, tries to steer them to do the right thing. You know, they just often killed him, and it's like, but then they replace him with the girl that sees that can do predictive models in her head. That was an interesting story arc. Of course, they killed her off at the end, which is like, okay, guess we're not keeping her around. But that was an interesting story arc where they run into the seers, and they're a hive mind, sort of like the Borg, and they're using that brain power to create predictive models of the future to see what's going to happen. I think about that kind of thought stuff a lot, so that's very interesting to me that they brought it up. One flaw that I see in this show, and I'm not saying it's a flaw, but I mean, there's two issues, I guess, that I have with the show, but I'm not really saying they should be fixed. But there's no aliens. But they did do a good job of creating a bunch of different character personalities, a bunch of different factions, a civilization, if you will, with a bunch of different things going on in this civilization. You know, there's 8 or so factions, but they're all corporations except for Yoshida's world. So that's kind of weird. The whole corporation thing, I guess that's a Canadian thing, because a lot of the Canadian TV shows that I've watched are corporate takeover of the political system. So it's kind of like, okay. I mean, I guess that might be a thing, but I don't know. It's really, really prominent, really dominant in these stories, so it's kind of odd. But yeah, I mean, it's a good show, and I hope it continues. I'm not sure. They don't have any lined up. I think it's a low end show. I mean, 7.6, which is a pretty decent rating. Do we have comments? Really? That guy's dropping out because of the end of the show. I think it's a good show. There's some other people that say it's a pretty good show, but I think it's a very good sci-fi show. I mean, the other shows that are out there struggled. You know, you had the time traveler one that was going on at the same time that Lost Girl was going on. There's Lost Girl. Continuum. So Continuum, Lost Girl, and there was another one. I'm trying to remember what it was. But you know, these sci-fi shows, while they're not like the strongest show, I guess, I think this is a pretty good show, and I hope it goes for a while. It definitely doesn't stand up to the mass market appeal, which I like stuff that doesn't stand up to mass market appeal. You know, Killjoys is definitely that mass market. That Killjoys is you know, it's like Firefly, I would say. It has that vibe to it, and so anyway, that's all I got for this show. Until next time, thanks for watching.